Slogans, 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 slogans. Meant to sell a product, it serves as a small little tagline to stick in your brain or impress you. Gaming is no different, whether the bad with Earthbound's "this game stinks," the plain with "the bigger they are, the harder they die," or just the iconic with "finish the fight." There's a little something for everyone.
What's up, gamers? I've been hired as a new intern at a water bottle company and tasked with making a new hit slogan. So far it hasn't been great. Apparently that isn't marketable or fit the brand. So I'm going back to the drawing board with my bread and butter, video game consoles, and hopefully earn my first paycheck.
Now, when you think of console slogans, I imagine most people's thoughts go straight to the Genesis with their explosive "Genesis does what Nintendo don't" ad campaign.
Genesis does. Genesis does. Genesis does. Genesis does.
It's catchy, it's short, it's iconic, and more importantly, it's on brand. The Genesis was entirely focused on this cocky attitude in the 90s, especially in trying to prove they were better than Nintendo. I personally love it for just how direct it is. This slogan basically started the console wars that, for some reason, 40-year-old men still argue about online. Pure and simple, this is what every console slogan should strive for. This is the peak of the mountain. And God, did Sega immediately slip and fall. The Game Gear, while having a neat slogan of "get a grip," tried to continue the anti-Nintendo theming by playing off the Game Boy with,
"If you were colorblind and had an IQ less than 12, then you wouldn't care which portable you had. Of course, you wouldn't care if you drank from the toilet either."
which really screams to me that they were trying too hard. I mean, there's the Genesis, which is edgy yet still simple, while this just seems like they were trying to reach that edgy audience no matter what without much thought into it. This doesn't make me want to get a Game Gear other than just insulting me if I don't. I mean, yeah, the thing advertises that it has color, but there was really a better way they could have gone about it. Instead, they threw everything at the wall to see what stuck. Newsflash, nothing stuck. The Dreamcast continues this trend of sucking with its thinking. Why would this make me want to get a Dreamcast? I mean, the Dreamcast, despite its rocky reputation, did have a unique identity with its games, striking a neat balance between family-friendly and being edgy. Yet instead of using that identity, we got its thinking. Whoa, so unique. You know what? I can think too, and I'm thinking it's pretty fucking obvious why your console failed. Going back to the NES, "Now you're playing with power" is a pretty neat slogan. It fits the NES's overall branding well, and that's about all I can say, as it's not taking any risks. This is the family-friendly to Sega's louder, edgier approach. I do find it cute how Nintendo pushed it further though, with the SNES and Game Boy sporting "Now you're playing with superpower" and "Now you're playing with portable power" respectively, as it makes them feel more connected while inadvertently showing how both systems are just extensions to the NES. Of course though, there is better, specifically the "Play It Loud" campaign. This slogan just speaks to me, man. While you might call me out as this doesn't represent the games all too much, the branding was more centered around the different colors you could get the Game Boy in, so I think it gets a pass. It just fits the ads so well in a way I can't even describe. The N64's "get in" or "get out" is more of what I like to see. Again, it's basic, but far from bland. Call me a sucker for puns, but come on, using the logo as a stand-in for "in" is just clever, man. This is where we saw Nintendo lean more into being edgy, especially as the PlayStation was now out, and I like this for being a good representation of the crossroads Nintendo was at. While I was going to mark it down for not being great for representing the games themselves, I think when paired with the stranger ads at the time, it works in such an odd way that I can't help but like it. The N64 had other slogans, being the "fun machine" and "change the system," but these don't fit in the same way. I could use these for any other console and it wouldn't matter. Switching to the PlayStation side of things, the PS1 was pretty mediocre, but Sony really hit their stride with the release of the PS2 Live in Your World Playing Hours. This works really well in my opinion, as it emphasizes escaping boring life to play vibrant and fun games, which is backed up by the ads they used it in. While it seems a bit basic unlike other slogans I've mentioned, I can really only see this being paired with the PS2, showing just how well it worked. Part of that may come from PlayStation focusing on having more of their own exclusive franchises, i.e. relating to the play in our world part of the tagline, as they focused on expanding the worlds and stories of their games. You can even see this slogan be part of the inspiration for the PS4's Greatness Awaits, yet I don't think that fits nearly as well as the PS2's, despite being the same general idea. This kind of shows how execution is huge for a slogan, with the ads that they're paired with doing a lot of the heavy lifting, as despite the PS4 being 10 times more immersive and 10 times more story-driven, the PS2 has a far more recognizable tagline due to its ad use. The PS3's It Only Does Everything is another stellar slogan. I especially love how in the commercials it was used, they'd flip through the various things the PS3 did just to show how versatile it was. While debatable if the PS3 needed those things, the slogan worked on giving the PS3 more of an identity and a reason to buy it. Compare that to the 360 and it becomes a bit more clear how the PS3 was able to turn things around and end up selling more units. Of course, it wasn't the only factor, but I do think it served as great advertising. That's not to say Xbox had only terrible slogans, but it's not like they have the best track record either. The original Xbox sports my personal favorite slogan: "Life is short, play more." It's simple, sweet, and paired with one of the weirdest ads ever, which fits so well with the OG Xbox being edgy yet actually focused on the games. God, I wish I could say the same about Microsoft now. The slogan makes me think of Xbox, and in a way is future-proofed as people will then look at the OG Xbox and remember playing it as a kid, and relate to the slogan. Past that, the Xbox went through a variety of other slogans which all served a great job for their intended purpose, especially those advertising the new online play. The Kinect's "You Are the Controller" is to the point and works well in having people quickly understand the product. It points out the major difference between the Wii and Kinect. Of course, we all know how that went, but I don't blame the slogan in this case. It could have been more creative, sure, but for what it is, I like it. "We would like to play for the Nintendo Wii" is one of the best slogans out there. It represents the Wii's more play-together attitude without being overly confusing. It's a great example of just getting it right. Over on the handheld side of things, we have "Touching is Good." Paired with some weird ads of fingers to show off the DS, I mean, wouldn't you want to go on the Touch Me tour?
No!
I get what they're going for, as the DS had the gimmick of the touchscreen, but a slogan should make me want to get a product, not a restraining order. They knew exactly what they were doing too, and when you're marketing to kids, that's not exactly silly wordplay that should be excused. Let's hope the PSP is a bit better.
PSP. It's like a nut you can play with outside.
Thankfully, they had actual slogans with "Dude, get your own," which is stupid, but like the good stupid. It feels perfect for that era and still serves the role of making the PSP seem desirable. The other slogans being more traditional, with "Your whole world in your hands" and "Everywhere just got better," which really emphasize that this is a portable PlayStation, and when paired with their specific ads, they work quite well. Not perfect for representing the system, but still good. The PSP Go had its go time, which is silly enough for me to like it, as it helps grow the identity of the handheld a bit more. Meanwhile, the PS Vita sported "Never Stop Playing" in North America, and globally, "The World is in Play," which just feel even more bland. Whereas, I think they should have gone more in on competing with the 3DS, as the second joystick was a huge draw for people. Instead for the ads, we got more boring slop and, oh what the hell, we're back to the weird shit again. The PS4 wasn't completely terrible, as I really love "This is for the Players," as at a time where the Xbox One was trying to be a media machine and sported some anti-consumer ideas, the PS4 took advantage of this and marketed itself as purely a gaming system meant for gamers. Which, as stupid as it sounds, was so smart, as people just wanted a system meant for them. On top of that, it invokes the 90s rivalries without feeling dated. Surprisingly, modern consoles have had some great slogans. The Series X has "Power Your Dreams," which feels more like a return to the OG Xbox era branding, while also being a neat nod to the Power powerful hardware. The PS5 had play with no limits, which is a massive step up from the PS4, as it works better to emphasize the games and power of the console in an interesting way. But Sony hasn't seemed to crack the code yet, as the PS5 Pro seems like it's trying too hard. The Switch, of course, shows off that it's a hybrid, and while it could have been a bit more geared to the fact it's hybrid as it sounds like any other handheld, the slogan is used so rarely that I can let it slide, as instead we typically get the iconic Switch click sound at the end of commercials. Which, could that be considered a slogan? I mean, of course not. It's a sound, right? Well, how about the PlayStation sound? That has words in it. I don't actually consider these slogans, but it's something to be considered. Google Stadia, God, remember the Stadia? Didn't sport any widespread slogans throughout its time, with the closest thing I could find being play for anyone, as it was meant to represent the more widespread accessibility of gaming, but like, Stadia wasn't doing anything to make gaming more accessible. It would make sense if they were trying to increase gaming compatibility with, say, disabled people. That would make sense, but compared to other systems, they had even less support for those audiences. The other slogan I found being in an article was that the future of gaming is in a box, which at least fits the narrative Google was pushing, as flawed as it was, but even then, from what I can tell, this was used in 0 actual ads. My point is that for as many good console slogans there are, there's twice as many that are nothing burgers. Stuff to just sound edgy in a trailer when, like, what does do the math mean to an average consumer who doesn't understand what having more bits does? Slogans really don't matter, as I mean, you can probably tell so far they've been judged on how they make you feel about a console, which, duh, that's advertising 101, but that's just it. These slogans don't mean anything without the ads they're paired with. Sure, certain slogans are inherently more interesting and better fits for their consoles, but I think with the right advertising, any slogan could have worked. As we move away from a lot of staples that were a part of gaming, I'm glad slogans haven't fizzled out, as I think they do a great job at connecting you back to the era when a console came out, what was important to the general audiences, and what the company wanted you to remember the most.
Turns out you don't get paid with unpaid internships, but I'm not even worried about it. It didn't seem like they were going with my idea anyways. Dude, where's my wallet?